Hello everyone, my name is Jewel and I'm here today weaving, and this style of weaving is called Taniko, which is a traditional Māori style of weaving. Here though, I have chosen to use modern materials implementing an ancient art called Taniko, which is Taniko. So traditionally the materials used here would have been muka, and muka is a material that is made from flax, and flax is a plant called Phormium tenax, which is the Latin name. Harakeke is the Māori name. The common name is New Zealand flax. The New Zealand flax plant is a shrub, and pre-European time, New Zealand Māori, my ancestors, used to trade flax with sailors, sealers, and missionaries that came to our country and travelled here from other countries over 200 years ago. So flax had its purpose and its uses that long ago for commercial purposes as well as for traditional purposes. And in particular, Taniko was used for decorative borders on korowai, cloaks. So korowai, the translation is cloak. So pre-European times, Māori people wore cloaks. I'm not clear on the type of people who wore the cloaks, whether it was only for dignitaries or for people of high birthing or of high ranking or superiority within a tribe, or whether there was cloaks that people used to keep warm in the winter, and therefore they were practical and kept people warm and dry. And then, as seen in some of the museums around the world, korowai were made for people of distinction and of high ranking, and therefore those korowai were beautifully made, there would have been prized feathers used on those korowai to mark the ranking of the individual the korowai was made for. So Taniko has a very special place in Māori history in terms of the wearers, who the wearers of Taniko were, and the purpose. But in this case, during lockdown times, my purpose is to keep myself busy, being creative, and I'm reviving an old traditional art, and yes, this is an art, craft, and showing it to people like yourselves to either build up the popularity, create some interest with others, and hopefully my intention is to keep the art alive and keep passing it down to our future generations. So that's one of the reasons why I decided to video myself weaving this bag. This particular bag here would probably, I've lost count, but it's probably like my 16th or 17th, around about that number, bag. And I'm talking a bag this size. So you can see, compared to my hands, the size of this bag. In future videos I will show you the size of wallets that I've been making more recently and have gained a lot more experience from as a result. But today, and because it's lockdown, I thought it'd be a good idea to show people me weaving and also talking to you about weaving and to start building up interest amongst the audience out there, whoever that audience may be. I have been told by people, friends and relations, that when they do watch me weave, they find it very therapeutic. So this is another reason why I decided to video myself today, is I can sit here and talk to you guys about the art, the craft, and also you can watch me. This is my first video, and it won't be my last. As time goes by, I will start making videos that show you how to start one of these bags, and that show you how to finish one of these bags. Now I've come to a point where I've run out of thread here, or running out of thread. So I grab my ball and I join them up. And this is how I choose to join them up, because you want that knot really tight, because you're forever pulling on your whenua, on your weaving threads. Sorry, not your whenua, your fatu, which are these ones. So when you're pulling on them to keep the tension tight, you have to make sure that when you've tied these knots, they're tight so that you don't actually keep pulling and pull them undone. The materials you need, like I've told you, is the paper twine bundles, the acrylic wool balls, these scissors, and a bag to hold everything in if you're going to be moving around the place. And that's it, really. When I did start out weaving, I had a book that I followed, and that was more to do with following the patterns, or creating patterns that I needed to create to that I needed to not create, I needed to read and understand to be able to get the pattern out as I have here. Now I don't need to do that, because I've done enough bags to know what I'm doing, and I have created a weaving style that suits me. what I mean by a weaving style, I'm talking about the way I use colour, the way I use the way I implement the patterns, I should say, and the way I change rows from one row to the next. All these things I mention are unique. Other weavers may not do their finishing the same way I do my finishing in terms of making these bags out of this material here. Other weavers may not agree with the way I'm weaving, and how I do it. That's okay, they don't need to agree. This is a style that I have found suits me, suits the way I work as a right-handed person, and it suits me to not Taniko with a loom. When it comes to making borders or belts or bands, I am not keen on using a loom. And the reason for not using a loom is that it requires you to sit in a certain place, and probably even in a certain chair, and you have to have the loom set up with you, whether it be in front of you while you sit on a chair, or it might even be in front of you while you sit on the floor. I'm not keen on using a loom in that way, because I like the fact that I can just pick this whole thing up like this, shove it in my bag with the wool and the scissors, take it in my car and go and visit family, and have a lovely afternoon with the family, sitting there chatting and catching up with everyone while weaving, and not missing any of the conversation while weaving. So that's why I have chosen to weave bags, use lots of different fun colours, and share what I do with you guys.